It's been a long season for the drivers here in the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series, but just before we head to the finale at Chicagoland next week, we're going to make a stop at ISM Raceway in Phoenix, Arizona for the penultimate round of the season. And typically in most series, Connor, the field starts to spread out more towards once we get to the championship round, but for this series, it's only been tightening up.
It might spread out a little bit at the very end of this. For a lot of guys in the chase, this is pretty much their last shot. We have five guys I believe we have five guys separated by 12 points, and that gap's likely only going to get wider. I think tonight we're going to get it down to two people, and one of those two people I almost guarantee is going to be Nick Johnston. With all the mistakes he's had so far this chase, he is still the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really been the big talking point for this series here as qualifying is underway. Two drivers out on track, Jeremy Miller mainly in the 23 putting down a time. But yeah, talking about the points, it's been pretty tight, and that was not what we really expected. Again, Nick Johnston walking into this playoffs with 5 wins to his name. We expect him to get a few more, at least in the first 2 rounds of this playoffs, but not a single one, and just has been mired by a lot of mistakes, which have allowed his competitors, namely Chad Simpson, to get up tied with him for the lead.
Yeah, Chad Simpson's definitely been the beneficiary of a lot of mistakes by that 28 machine. I think Johnson's just got to make sure he goes as almost not too slow on pit road, but make sure he's not even close to that pit limiter. He's got to make sure he gets into a stall and all that. He's already the fastest on track every week, but he's got to get it done on the little things in pit road, all of that. He's got to get that sorted, patted down, and he can be easily the champ.
Absolutely, and currently for Colin Fambrough out putting a time down, and he's one of those drivers, really, this is his last shot to get in competitive form. He's only 12 points behind Nick Johnston and Chad Simpson, so I think for his sake, he's got to hope that Johnston has another week where he just doesn't get enough points, and Fambrough has been on a roll these last 2 weeks, doing everything he can to do well, finishing first, obviously winning at Charlotte, and finishing second at Auto Club.
And the crazy part is, it's still not enough. He's still 12 points back, and that goes all the way back to the season he had in the regular season. It just wasn't good enough. You have to really perform when you put yourself in a hole like that. He's been able to do it, but at the same time, he's still got to be looking at maybe 2 straight wins to close out the season to have any sort of...
Well, he's currently looking like he might be able to do that here. You see him currently sitting provisional in 3rd place. Here, as we still got qualifying wrapping up, most of the heavy hitters have put down their times. Nick Johnston up on pole. And actually, I'm trying to see how many poles he's had this season, because I can assure you it's a lot. For him, this is looking to be his 9th pole this season.
Wow.
he started the last 5 on pole. I don't know.
On pole. Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't I was expecting a decently high number, not that high. That's an incredible figure. But again, is this the consistency that's been biting him in the back these last few weeks? Riley Thompson, notably, going to start in 2nd, David Kalb in 3rd, and also just saw Christopher Matthews in the 92. He's just came across the line, going to climb his way up into 14th here, as qualifying is going to be complete, and we get ready to set the stage for 156 laps here at Phoenix.
I remember the last fuel series I believe we had here at Phoenix, it went to from a first half of a completely predictable race to a second half of the race being completely unexpected and insane. I kind of hope it's not as crazy, but at the same time, it would make for a great finale.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. I mean, I have the results pulled up here. We had Hayden Pistorius win last time we were at ISM. Casey Licata second, Derek Castor in third, Liam Sheen in fourth, and Brian Chambliss in fifth. And again, there's notable names that are on there, especially Anthony DeBarro and who's the other driver I'm forgetting? Nick Cohen. Yeah, was also not.
Yes.
Yeah. He actually, I don't think, was in that race, but there was a lot of big guys that ended up getting crashed out and just absolutely went crazy for these drivers. And this is interesting, too, coming to this week, because last week, we didn't have a single caution the entire race at Auto Club.
And it came down to fuel mileage, and I believe it was Riley Thompson who had it calculated just right, if I do remember correctly, as he sits outside of the front row today. We'll see if there's any fuel strategy coming down to the end tonight. I sort of doubt it, but what I'm looking for is another late race restart. That's what produced all the chaos last year. We'll see what happens this week.
Absolutely here, and we'll get started here on your starting lineup for tonight. Starting on pole, as we were saying, Nick Johnston in the 28 car. Next to him is going to be Riley Thompson in the 58. Back in behind them in third, Colin Fambro is going to be on the inside. Next, David Calb on the outside in fourth.
Will Roberts had a strong practice and qualifying run. He puts himself into a top 5 with Mitch Welker in P6, still on the outside looking in about 25 points back. Then Hayden Pistorius in 7th, and Thomas Bresci also looking for a lot of help. He's
Yeah, then we move on back to Chad Simpson in 9th in the 46 machine. Next to him, Travis McQuistion going to start in the 93 in 10th.
A couple of big contenders there in the top 3 of the points with Casey Licata's P11 with good friend Brian Chambliss P12, Michael Stroll P13, Christopher Matthews with a decent qualifying effort at P14, and Jeremy Miller P15, the last of the people to put up a
See the pace truck beginning to roll off. We'll go through the last few rows. Casey Shue going to start back in 17th in the 4. Steve Herring in 18th in the 98. Back in 20th is going to be John Wilco. 19th is going to be John Wilco in the 62. David Mott Jr. is going to be starting in 20th in the 10 car. I got the last few rows here. Calvin Flarsky 21st in the 2. Tyler Gdolger in 22nd. That's going to wrap up your grid for tonight here. And as we get ready for 156 laps, penultimate round of the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series.
One person who's going to have to go right off the bat is Chad Simpson. Tied for the points lead, but the guy he's fighting for it is in the pole, and he's 9th. He's got to make up a lot of ground. We're coming to the green right now.
The pace truck going to make the turn on the pit road. Drivers waiting for that green flag, and there it is, green flag here at Phoenix.
Pretty orderly start there. No big dives right now. Nick Johnson easily going to get to the lead. Riley Thompson trying to stay P2 out of turn 2. Fambro trying everything he can to stay side by side. They might go 3.
You can see everyone fanning out across the back straightaway here, entering turn 3. This can get dicey, especially on the opening lap. Still side by side through the middle of 3 and 4 for a lot of these drivers. A few rows on back, notably Colin Fambro, again talking about him having to step up to the plate. Already doing so, trying to move to the inside of Thompson for second.
He's trying to get the second as quickly as possible because he already sees the 28 of Nick Johnston getting away, but he cannot get the pass completed. It's just really not much grip on that inside lane. It's really easy to pinch the person on the inside down to stay in front of a position, and Riley Thompson is doing that really well so far.
Yeah, and Fambro trying to get clear of that 58 machine, but Thompson's still there on the outside. Ooh, Thompson in the wall.
No, he's going to spin. No, he saved it.
He's going to go a little bit wide in the corner. There's Will Roberts on the inside trying to take advantage. And again, winner last time we were here, Hayden Pistorius back in 6th. He's looking to gain a spot as well. And there's Mitch Welker in the 76.
He didn't hit the wall too hard, not much damage, but with how sensitive these Xfinity cars are, that could ruin his race already.
Looks like he's going to file in line. We'll have to see the damage, especially later on in the run, how that's going to affect him. But so far, typical story as Nick Johnson already opens up almost a second lead over to second place.
And that's not what the other chase contenders wanted to see at all.
Looking a little bit further on back, some of the other battles going on. Casey Licata side by side with Chad Simpson. Simpson, if I'm not mistaken, might have dropped down the order already. Only one spot, but again, needs to start moving forward again, being tied with our points leader, or other points leader.
Yeah, he's got to get going quickly. He's struggling to even stay where he was. He's about to go down a second spot to Lakatos, which I believe Lakatos is going to make the pass work. Not quite. Maybe now he does, but I think maybe everyone's just hoping they get the green flag pit stop so they can see Nick Johnson actually try to execute another green flag stop, because he's apparently had struggles with that. But regardless of what you're relying on or whatever, Chad Simpson's not looking good.
Yeah, and that's definitely a thing you have to talk about as well. These drivers, with the possibility of a green flag stop, we've seen it quite a few times in the last few weeks. These drivers racing very clean against one another to at least get one of those cycles in. So it's definitely going to be a factor, and we've seen it be a factor for Nick Johnson in the 28. We're going to be talking a lot about it because it's amazing how much that's affected the championship here. You see Jeremy Miller to the inside of Chad Simpson as they battle off into the corner for 11th.
It's crazy because if you think about it, this championship could have already been basically wrapped up, but just a few mistakes like that and you're tied for the points lead. It's been just little mistakes like that can change the whole complexion of a chase, and it's done that so far. And it's going to be very interesting to see if he can pull off these green flag stops. I think that's the key he really needs to get this championship rep.
Yeah, looking at another battle brewing between Thomas Bressie and Riley Thompson. Bressie going to force to the inside. See Thompson try to get back to that outside, but going to fall one position to Bressie, who moves his way into the top 5.
A bit of a slide job there, but sometimes you kind of have to do that so you get clear. You don't want to be the one pitched down in the turns, especially at a track like this.
Out of this battle for third place still brewing between our leaders. This has not really subsided since the green flag came out. These guys all still very close together in line.
Fambro tried to get the second to start reeling in at 28, but that hasn't worked. He's slowly getting reeled in by the 17 there. David Kolb having a good run so far in P3.
Yeah, looking on board with Will Roberts in the 39 this battle, and again, a really solid starting spot for Will Roberts. Is normally a midfield runner, but here he is at the top of the field as a shot moving to second if things go his way.
He was really fast in practice. It seems like he's got a bit of pace here to maybe pull off a little bit of an upset here. I can hear him already shifting, I think, in 3 and 4.
Actually, yeah, we'll ride back on board again with him, and we'll try to listen to the engine and see here if he's actually doing that.
Could have been a glitch, but at the same time, it might be a little bit of an advantage to get that bit of a jolt off of the turns here. It's very risky to do, though, with all the wheel spin.
Little corner is gonna get back on gas, so maybe a glitch, or maybe decided maybe not to do it this time by.
Could have been just testing it out. It's really, like I said, it's really difficult to get it to stick. You might end up spinning yourself out if you throttle up too early.
Mitch welcome to the inside of Riley Thompson. You can only imagine that the damage to that machine is starting to hurt him after getting some wall contact out of turn 4. I'm curious to see when this car rolls around just to really see how bad it is. Started all the way up on the front row and has drifted slowly on back. Oh! Creams the wall again!
Not going to get much better doing that.
No, indeed it isn't. This is going to, as you're saying, it's going to make it a lot worse, and is already dropping back at a significant rate. There's Hayden Pistorius, Travis McCushion, and Casey Lakatos all duking it out for 8th place.
Pistorius has got a bit of damage on the very rear of his bumper. I'm wondering if he got a tap from someone because of the checkup from Thompson. I'm wondering. I don't know where that damage came from.
Oh, hits the wall again. He's going to go spinning down the front straightaway. He's going to collect it and save it. But man, is he struggling.
Yeah, just pushing too hard way too early. That's probably definitely his race done. Pistorius almost actually followed him into a wall there.
Yeah, we've seen him not once, not twice, but 3 times hit the wall. And here it is coming off turn 4. Man, just absolutely creams it. We'll take another look at it as well.
Good job gathering it, not going back up into traffic. That could have been a big one.
Oh man, just bounced off the wall so violently.
And it's got care center, he goes.
Yeah, he's still on the track back in 17th, and you're probably wondering what he's fighting for. If you can see the gold banner on some of the cars in the field, that's the Best of the Rest championship for these drivers. They're fighting for themselves in a separate championship, while the championship is being fought by drivers with the red banners on their on the front windshield.
There's pretty much competitions all over the track. It's always tough to look at.
And either is looking at that battle we were looking at earlier for second place is definitely fallen off. Colin Farrell's checked out a little bit, trying to catch Nick Johnson in the 28. And seeing again, we were talking about short run pace and long run pace. They come across the line. They're equal last time by this time by a 29.105 for Johnston and a little bit slower for Fanbril that time through. But they're both very much the fastest guys on the lap on the track.
Yeah, definitely those two to beat, but at the same time, it's pretty much Nick Johnston's to lose. He's already a second and a half up on Fanbro, and that gap's been growing ever since the green flag drop. It's really going to come down to probably restarts at this rate or a mistake by Nick Johnson. We've already seen mistakes by the 58, who's usually really fast. Oh, and I think Johnson just spun, did he not?
Oh, he did! He spun off a turn 4, and mistakes in the last 2 weeks. Add a third one as he spins. But looks like he didn't get damaged, but my...
No, he didn't.
Oh, man.
Scared me. Out of nowhere, he was sideways on the front stretch. I thought he might hit the wall and spin. But I think he just got too loose.
I don't know if he's walked under a ladder or stepped on a crack or what he's done to give himself some bad luck, but man... This is just going to add to the story yet again. Let's see what happened to him off of turn 4.
It sounded like a missed shift. It's like he tried shifting up and he shifted to like second or something. That sounded odd.
Here's a look here off of turn 4. We'll go back on board to really see what happened. Yeah, that was... You see him just lock it down, try to save it. Did a great job keeping off the inside wall.
You hear the engine like coming out of 4. You go to a replay entering 3 and just play it out through the whole turn. It sounded like the motor skipped or something, like he was on maybe the clutch or something. I don't know what kind of mistake he made there, but he was lucky to get away with it. No damage and not a blown engine, because it seemed like he really messed up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think just missed a shift as he was trying to go back up through the gear. Or go back up.
Because he was well off the turn already. It's like he shifted to third to second. He was really fortunate not to blow the engine there.
Man, that's... Again, he got really... Yeah, as you're saying, he's just really lucky, A, not to blow the engine, and B, get some damage, but all the way back in 20th. But man, this is just not what he needs to be happening to him. And it's just really amazing, because it was like a light switch. As soon as the chase started, or the playoffs, started, he's just gone absolutely wrong from Casey Licata is going to roll through pit road. He's going to stay out and try to lead a lap for himself, but everyone else down getting service.
And now he's going to put himself back in a hornet's nest with everyone in the mid-pack, and he's going to have to make his way all the way back up, risk getting into a couple incidents possibly, and the door is wide open now for Colin Fambro.
Yeah, and again, we were talking about it, Colin Fambro, what he needed to do, and here he is, up leading the race. Actually, that's not correct. It hasn't corrected, because Casey Licata is actually still in the lead, but we'll be getting it as soon as... Yeah, we'll get it as soon as Licata comes on now, but he will be our leader. Thomas Bresci notably going to move up quite a few spots on pit road. Had a fairly quick stop. He needs to give his pit crew a raise. They had a 14.4 stop. Everyone else was a few tenths slower than that, so I gave him, I think, 1 or 2 positions. I still cannot believe, we were talking about this before we went live, that joking that he might have, practiced an hour or should have practiced an hour just going down to pit road, because last 2 weeks has been pit road mistakes, and this time, again, and this is out of nowhere, a mistake on the track, which we've almost never seen.
The last thing I expected, a mistake on track during the race. I didn't expect that at all. I think he probably tried shifting and it just didn't work.
Yeah, and I can bet you that he's definitely not going to touch that shifter. If I was him, I wouldn't for the rest of the race.
Yeah, I think 4th gear is pretty safe. I think it's just way risky to miss a shift like that. He's clearly not comfortable with shifting 3rd to 4th, so I don't know. I doubt that. I bet that's the last time he tries it. See Licata's coming on the pit road.
Yeah, and I guess he's fortunate that, again, if you're testing it, if you want to test out stuff early, do it now before you're paying the price, because, again, we still got 133 laps left to go, so the race very much still young, but you never want to be in these types of positions as a driver. Many things can go wrong. If there's a big wreck midfield, he's going to be pretty much in the middle of it as he's trying to climb back forward. But to put this in perspective too, looking at the rest of the championship competitors, Chad Simpson tied in the points lead coming into this round. He's currently running in 8th. Travis McQuistion running up in 7th. He's 3rd in the standings. Thomas Bressi up in 2nd. 4th, Colin Fambro leading the race. He's 5th in the standings, 12 points back. Everyone past that is a little bit out of reach for the championship. So it's effectively 5 drivers that we're looking at tonight. Man, I'm just still amazed. My mind can't comprehend what we just saw happen.
I thought it was a lap car spinning, but then the paint scheme fit the 28. I couldn't believe it. Another thing we've got to take in perspective, he was already ahead of all his championship contenders looking primed. Now he's got to go through pretty much all of his championship contenders now, especially that 46. You can guarantee Chad Simpson is going to do everything he can to not let that 28 by once he gets to him. Yeah, absolutely, because Chad Simpson not having the best of nights at the moment. Obviously, again, Knight's still young for these competitors, but he needs to start stepping it up too. And again, when that's one of the drivers you're fighting, he's going to do everything he can, like you're saying, to keep him in behind. It's funny too, because even last night in the 3Y Grand National Series, the leader spun and wrecked in that race too. So I don't know if there's a full moon the last 2 nights, but something's going on. Well, there was a full moon at Phoenix the last time they were here. It's just something about this track and these drivers that gets them all riled up, possibly. The way the standings look with Fambro, Bressi being P1, P2, and the guys who are tied for the points lead and all that, it could be very tight going into Chicago if it stood this way somehow. We still have halfway points to get to. Nick Johnson, Chad Simpson have to get as many of those as they can. There's still so many things that could happen. It might get even crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Last race at Phoenix was pretty crazy. It's kind of looking that way here as the pace truck pulls off to pit road. Going to get the first restart of the night. Here we go. Green flag back in the air here at Phoenix.
Seems like another orderly restart. Fambro and Bressi clear to P1 and P2 while Mitch Wilker tries to hang it on the outside.
Everyone racing down the back straightaway. Gonna file on out again as everyone tries to get as many positions as possible.
Yeah, especially the 28 trying to get every position he can. He's already back of Will Roberts, who I think might have sped on that last restart, so he's probably going to have to poke the hole through to get the 28 to the front with him. Oh, he dove right under a 92. Not like that.
Yeah, as
Johnson almost got the back bumper of him there.
Yeah, and as you're saying, Will Roberts, I think I imagine, did have a speeding penalty or something and put him in the back of the pack after running in the top 5. Is now both working with, imagine maybe working with the 28, trying to work their way on through. Both those drivers pretty quick here.
A battle of a lead brewing between some contenders, Fambro and Bressi. Thomas Bressi definitely has not had one of the better chases right now. Fambro's had pretty much the best one, if anyone else has. I don't think anyone's contending with him for the best chase. I think Bressi needs all the laps led. He needs the lead right now. He needs to get away somehow. Yeah,
absolutely, and I'm sure this is not what Fambro needs, but Bressi needs Fambro to get out of the picture because, this is not Bressi needs as many points as well in comparison to the 5, so he wants to be up there in the lead, but we've seen Bressi struggle quite a bit. 6th and 11th place are his finishes in this playoff, so it's not been the best of runs for Bressi either, when he's needed it arguably the most.
Yeah, he really hasn't came up in a clutch so far. He's got to make something happen these next 2 weeks or it's game over.
Looking back at again, 28 in the 39, Nick Johnston and Will Roberts respectively, both drivers trying to climb their way back up, currently 13th and 14th in line. You see Johnson going to make a move down. That's David Mott Jr. He's going to the inside of the 10.
Looking at the front end of Johnson, he might have gotten into Will Roberts. He does have a little bit of front end damage. I don't think it will affect him as much, but he definitely got in the back of someone lately.
Yeah, and again, we didn't see him hit the wall. We'll see here as he turns around on camera, zoom, looking up the top. Definitely scruffed up a bit, but yeah, hopefully that doesn't affect him. Can't imagine it would.
We've seen some unlikely people get good runs. Like I said, we keep going back to last year's race here, and if you always saw a couple of unlikely good runs here. Another one, Jeremy Miller's up there in P5. He's usually known as a restrictor plate ringer, but he's solidly in the top 5 right now.
Yeah, he's having a pretty solid night. In comparison to where he started only back in 15th, so I would imagine one of our biggest movers of the race so far.
Yeah, up 10 spots, definitely the biggest the biggest person to move up, other than maybe Filarski. He's gone 21st to 10th. We'll see if he can move up a little bit more. He usually has decent pace.
Yeah, this is actually is one of Filarski's better runs. He's been kind of sticking in the back of the pack or lower middle of the pack, but here he is pretty much smack dab in the middle here in 10th, but he's got Nick Johnston in behind who's pretty anxious to get on by. I would imagine that you see him making a move.
Yeah, he probably sees the 46 up there. He's got to go pretty early to get a decent amount of stage points now. He's got to go quick.
And again, looking at halfway to fall at lap 77, so we're essentially halfway to halfway at this point. Getting close to it.
He's going to clear the 2 right there. The 2 up to his back bumper. Likely not going to challenge him here.
Can't imagine that again, as a driver, you got to know really who you're racing against, and I can't imagine you want to pick a fight with one of the top brass in the series. That's kind of a recipe for a disaster.
It's a recipe for not racing another race in the league, I would think.
Ooh, looking at Brian Chambliss take a bit of apron, and talk to me really for these Xfinity cars. How much is it worth using the apron in 3 and 4?
3 and 4, you obviously don't want to get all 4s below it, I believe, but I think it really helps turn the car if you get the left sides on it just a little bit, possibly. It really helps the car rotate. It doesn't get it too loose. It just really helps the car get through the center, especially through the center, so I think it's a nice asset if you can't really turn the car.
See, most guys just, as you're saying, just, trickling 2 tires below there, but definitely don't want to get too far down below. Can be definitely hurt. You're not only tired, but it's just really hard to just get momentum, especially off the corner. You see Johnson work his way back up in at 9th, so solid climb forward. But still some work to be done. And speaking of which, at the front, we're expecting Resi, who's looking really aggressive early in the run, and started to fall back.
He hasn't been the best on the long runs, especially throughout the whole season, really. We'll see what he can do if it goes a little bit longer. We'll see if Fabro can pull out a gap. We saw Johnston get about 2 seconds ahead before his incident. Fambro's about maybe half a second ahead. He really hasn't been able to do that yet, so we'll see what happens as we go longer in the run. But we got a battle for essentially the championship lead right here.
As you're saying, between Chad Simpson and Nick Johnson, it looks like Simpson might not necessarily be pulling over, but is at least giving room to the 28. I think he might be trying to fight this on the outside. Indeed, he's going to get a decent run off the corner, but this might be a losing battle here. That inside lane really good.
Yeah, it's really strong right now. You really have to pinch hard to have any sort of chance on the outside. Simpson couldn't really do anything there. He has to give the position up, but he's likely going to lose the position to Chambliss as well here.
Looks like with a decent run off the corner, that Chad Simpson's going to keep at least 9th place away from Brian Chambliss, but lose that spot to Nick Johnston, who's been picking him up and putting him down. Currently running in 8th place now.
Not a surprise, I don't hear him shifting.
Again, if I'm him, I don't touch that the rest of the night. I think if I'm just aim for a solid top 5. Yeah, I would say you're at least good for the most part, and especially I think he needs to just pick up some solid bonus points because he finished 5th back at Auto Club, but middle of the race, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Colin Fambro took home max amount of halfway points, led at halfway.
I guess I believe that is right. He does still have to get up there to get some stage points. You say top 5, but I still think he can go for the win, but he has to be really careful. I think even without shifting, he's probably still the favorite to win, even though he's back here in about 8th. I still think he can get all the way back up there.
Battle going on in behind them between Filarski and Will Roberts. Roberts is not been going as quickly to the front as Nicholas Johnson, but is working his way up there. Filarski almost gets a piece of the wall off of turn 4.
Yeah, these guys are really pushing it with that wall, especially out of turn 4. I don't see them getting too close out of turn 2 because usually they're diving low for the dogleg. But turn 4 is definitely a trouble spot right now. We've already seen the 58 hit the wall like 3 times there. The 28's been out there. It's a big trouble spot apparently.
We'll see the fuel come off at turn 4 here, and we're starting to see again Riley Thompson really struggle with that early on. He's actually still running in the race, and I think that caution was a good time for him to just come down, maybe fix up the car a little bit, and also just more importantly just get some fresh rubber because he was completely struggling out there with the tire wear and just the damage to his machine.
Yeah, he probably still needs one or two more to get that car fully repaired. He really killed the right side of that thing, so he probably needs a couple more opportunities to get the thing going where it was.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate in his case for a series that runs pretty clean like the Fuel Premier Series. These guys have been excellent when it comes to cautions. In fact, I think they have, I'm not sure of this, of the series we do in SimTV, I believe have probably one of the lowest records, or I guess not records, but I guess lowest average caution per race.
Yeah, these guys have been giving each other a lot of room pretty much every race. Maybe some minor incidents here and there, but a lot of respect given from pretty much each and every one of these guys. It's been a really nice thing to see. Oh, and by the way, I think Johnson is shifting.
Oh, is he? Oh boy.
He found himself.
Oh yeah, just got it there, going to third and 1 and 2. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're careful, you're going to be able to, but he feels like he needs to do it to get himself back up to the front. It's been working. He's moving his way up into 6 so far.
Yeah, you just got to be really careful on the throttle and obviously careful shifting through the gears because you could blow your engine like I've said probably way too many times. So you just got to make sure he keeps it nice and smooth and he can probably still compete for the.
Looking on and behind them, looks like Travis McQuistion's building up a few drivers in behind, but it looks like that might not be for long. Chad Simpson gets a pretty decent run off the corner, nowhere to go though on the back straightaway.
I think he's been shifting, but I don't think he's just not getting good runs out of the turns. I think Johnson actually passed him on the outside. Or actually, he might not be shifting, and who knows, that might be why he's not getting launches out of the turns. That's probably making more sense. He just seems to really be struggling on exit.
You see Chandler's now opened the door to the inside. He's going to have a look, but it's going to be a little bit tight on entry. This is where, again, that run on the outside going to help, but de facto, the inside lane is definitely the place you want to be. It's a matter of getting a good run on entry.
Yeah, the entry is so important. If you have to really get under him, get a great run to make sure you try to make that move stick. Chambliss really rolled the center there well, but even with a great center there, he still could not really get farther up alongside other than just dead even with the 46. He really dove it in turn one there. He gets the position.
Chambliss now going to try to drive away back from the 46, but they're still battling off into turn 3. See Simpson try to throw it up the inside. It's going to barely open up the door, but it's going to be really hard on exit.
Yeah, I doubt Chambliss was expecting that, but he's able to hold on pretty easily there. I don't think Chad Simpson has much to work with here. He's not having the run he really needs to have right now.
Yeah, this is, as you're saying, just not going his way as he drops back. He started in 9th, has dropped back into 10th. Might be even more as Will Roberts approaching.
Oh, Bresci got really loose into 3. Kolb might have hit him there in turn 3. Sorry to interrupt there. Bresci almost lost it into a turn there. He is really holding up Kolb and Welker right now.
Yeah, we'll quickly try to take a look at what happened here. This is the replay of them going off into turn 3. And no, that was by himself, just got loose. Did a great job saving it.
Yeah, sorry. He's really hanging on right now. He's just trying to cling to this P2 he has right now. The tire's really not looking good right now. David Kolb goes for the slide job there. Bresci sends it back to the inside on the apron. It's made. He doored him there.
Well, I saw that from a mile away. You just cannot make that inside, or not even the inside. You can't make really the apron work.
The car work. The car's not working with him. That's what I talked about. He does not have the long run speed. He's really bullying his way to stay up there. And you know who has a 2 to 3 second lead? It's going to be Colin Fambro.
Yeah, this is exactly what he needs to, especially if this is going to bunch up there. You're seeing the background, Nick Johnston as well as Jeremy Miller pitching this gaggle of cars for second place. Welker. Yeah, Welker and the 17 of David Calb on the outside, dooring each other down the front straightaway. Now, if you're Johnston, do you back off of this, or do you try to force the issue?
I'd say back off. I think I remember watching a race with you at Dover where the guy who backed off ended up dominating the race. I guarantee they might have doored each other, but I think David Kolb and Mitch Welker are very upset with the 24 right now. He's not letting anyone go right now, even though I think he's much slower than everyone behind him right now.
Yeah, call Bresci Gandalf, because none shall pass for him. Trying to keep everyone in behind. Whoa!
They are really driving hard for this third spot right now. Welker's going to dive it up the inside. Now Miller's right on the back bumper of a 76.
Ooh, Miller got really tight out on exit. Almost got into the quarter panel of the 17 here. Everyone going cutting the dog leg, trying to get as much of advantage as they can.
Yeah, the more aggressive it gets, the more the dog leg they're going to cut here. I think all that contact that they've had might have helped Brescia a little bit with dooring a couple people. He's starting to get a bit of a gap, but Welker's starting to chase him down. I think David Cobb's really paid the price.
Oh, and Miller threw a late dive to the inside, almost hit the 17.
Oh boy, he's all over the left rear there, and Nickel Johnson's right in the middle of it.
Johnson had to get off the gas, almost got into the back of the 23. You're talking about these guys giving each other a lot of respect, and I think really the motto for this series is everyone gives each other a lot of respect.
Miller.
Oh, hits him again.
Breaks.
Oh no, and that's going to hold up Johnston quite a bit, and also give him some nose damage to boot.
Didn't they have a bit of a battle at Charlotte?
I don't remember, but...
The Lucky Dog?
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, you are right.
I think it warranted a... I think, actually, I have drivers on right now. The 23 said 10-4. I don't know why that would warrant a bit of a bump and run there, but the 23, I think the brake lock in turn 4 was a bit of a message sent. We'll probably have to look at that later, but that really hurt the 28 more than it should have. That was an unnecessary risk.
And I was just about to say, as I was completing my statement, I was going to say, these guys give each other a lot of respect until they don't. So... on that note, but no, as you're talking about, making a mistake early on in the race, that's gonna cost you some. It's gonna put you in the back and put you in situations you don't want to be in, and that's exactly what we're talking about there. As you see, Welker now move up to the inside of Bresci.
He finally might get that second spot. Bresci's still not giving an inch, really pinching hard in turns 1 and 2. I think this might be maybe the corners where he gets it, but he got a really good run through the dog leg there. And I know Miller's back to 12th. Oh, the 76 really sent it there. But the 23's back to 12th. The 28's only 6th. But I really think that front end damage on the 28 is going to hurt way more than the little right rear damage on the 23. I think Johnson really cost himself there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll try to see. I'll have to take another look on the zoom. Oh, yeah, the damage is definitely a lot worse. You can tell from the little bit from the TV camera off. And one caution out on the track, and it's Tyler Hensley and Jeremy Miller.
He probably maybe got too aggressive, too mad there. Oh, there's another car turn. Filarski's turned in turn 1.
Oh, I have to check on what happened there. This is a separate incident here between the 44 and the 23. They get at each other, and then looking at Kelvin Filarski. Oh, he got hit by AC Lakatos, I think, going off into the turn. So 2 separate incidents here. We'll take a look again at the first one.
Filarski kind of just turned up on him. I was like checking up for the wreck. I think they kind of panicked a little bit. I think that was just temper getting to the 23 there that caused that.
It's the 23 driving up, into the 44, making contact. They spin, and then between Filarski and Lakatos. Oh yeah, that was... He turned down and then came back up and was going to take a hard hit to the inside wall. That's going to hurt.
And the only person who didn't want to see that was the guy leading Fambro. I think he almost had a 4-second lead there. He definitely wished that one went green, but instead it's yellow flag pit stop.
Yep, indeed. You're going to make some pit stops here for the drivers coming down onto pit road. And I'm curious, if you're Nick Johnson, do you even bother trying to fix that nose damage, or you just say, you know what, I'm just going to stay out and deal with it?
He might have to deal with it. He already has. That damage is already caused by getting back in the pack. I don't think he can afford to really fix anything, but we'll see here. It is a lot of front end damage.
Absolutely not what he needed coming into this round. Okay, so we'll see here the race off of pit road. Who's it going to be? Typically calling Fambro. Oh, barely. Oh, Thomas Bresci. Bresci going to have to drop back to 2nd. Welker in 3rd. Johnson going to come out in 4th.
Yep, he definitely didn't fix that damage. I don't know how much it'll affect him at a track like this. It might make him a bit tight, but I think he's fast enough. It might just put him right with the top 3.
Yeah, well, I definitely can tell you that I have doubts that he'll be able to just drive away like he normally would. It's definitely going to be hurting him as you're talking about, damage to the front in comparison to damage in the rear. You'd much rather have it in the rear because the nose we're going to be facing a lot of the air. You can see the splitter, or not destroyed, but definitely roughed up quite a bit and even damaged on the upper part of the nose as well.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a burden for him. It's really not going to, it's definitely not going to help the car. It's going to be interesting to see if he can adapt to the damage that's on that car. The only good thing that's came out of all this, especially that yellow flag, he's put himself in position for a decent amount of stage points or halfway points.
And coming up on that in the next 20 laps or so, seeing those halfway points being awarded, and again, those are extremely important, especially as, you know, the race field is pretty tight, all things considered. I mean, you have a 12-point gap between the top 5 drivers, so anyone can gain quite a bit of points, especially considering, you know, you get 10 for first at halfway, all the way back to 1 for 10th. It can really give you quite a bit of points, especially the way they're running now. Famber would take up 10 points, Johnston only take up 7, so it's going to close that gap back down to 9 points. And even if Famber wins the race over, it's going to just close it a little bit more. And he needs, again, every single point he can get.
Yeah, he's got to get these restarts down, too. We saw in the last restart he had to fend off a challenge from the 24, and now he's got Mitch Welker on his back bumper, and obviously Nick Johnson's back in the fray as well. He's going to have a really good 20-lap stint here to keep that lead and get all the stage points he can get. I keep calling them stage points. Same difference, halfway point.
Yeah, indeed, and I thought I'll do a little bit of promotion. Will didn't ask me to do this, but I thought might as well. So on your screen here, looking at the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series, their schedule for next season. If you would like to sign up, feel free to message Will Roberts. I'm not sure, either on Discord or Facebook or wherever you can reach him, on iRacing as well. Or just look up the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series League, and you can enlist in and join a really solid group of old drivers, and again, just join into the action you see here on track.
Yeah, someone who's not in the action right now is Mitch Welker. He just lagged out, I believe.
Oh, no, and I did see him earlier. I don't know why I clicked on him. It's not going to go anywhere. But I did see him earlier in the race that he was having some internet issues. So, fortunately, he came back then. Unfortunately, it looks like that's going to be permanent, so he's going to have to call it a night. That leaves us with 20 drivers running on the track, 19 of which on the lead lap.
That's unfortunate for him. He just got by Bressy there, at least battling him for a second there. He's looking like a threat to maybe run away with P2, maybe. But now, that's probably not good at all for Fambro. Now he's got Nick Johnson all over his back bumper for the restart. So he's got to deal with the 24 being aggressive, and also the 28 just being fast.
Absolutely, yeah, it was looking to be ideal with having Johnson stuck in behind the 24. Would have held him a little bit, but now he's going to be riding behind, so this is going to be an interesting restart here, the second one tonight, after 2 cautions slowing down the pace.
It's going to be interesting to see this guy wave the green flag. He actually waves the green flag now. It's
yeah, I know,
awesome.
it took them way too long to fix that. But
it was history. It was a piece of history. We might see more history here. It's going to be an interesting restart here. Green flag's out.
The green flag back in the air here at Phoenix. Fambro trying to get a good start over Nick Johnson. He's going to try to squeeze Bressy in line to put some distance, but Nick Johnson going to dive it up the inside of Bressy. That 24, they almost make contact coming out of turn 2 as they all fan out across the back straightaway.
Yeah, Bressy's not going to let him go by easy. He's probably going to pinch as hard as he can, and that's what Fambro wants. Fambro up the track, though, he really slid the tires there. He's going to try to get away as quickly as possible. Bressy really loose off the turn. Oh, he kept it out of the wall. What a save.
I am amazed he held on to that thing. He's still got to hold on, though. He's got Hayden Pistorius to his inside. Is pinching the 9, but wow. Had his hands full there. And
he's going to be able to go for second still. He just chopped Pistorius. He's still going for second. I can't believe all of that.
And again, the 24 is racing the 28 as much as the 5 is. Again,
he's all over his bumper there. He's going to hit the wall here. No, he didn't. He is driving the wheels off that thing to try to get some points.
I want to pull away to take a look back at that thing, but I'm going to stick back on here because something's brewing here between these drivers, and I don't think it's going to be good for one or maybe 2 of them, as you got 3 championship competitors left in the top 3.
Yeah, if the 28 and the 5 get side by side, it's all going to go down. 24 really pushing it. He's really going below the yellow line there. I said you don't want 4 tires under there, but it might be working. Did not get the best of runs there.
Yeah, I was going to say you can make it work to try to make a move, but it's going to kill your exit speed, so you really have to use that move sparingly. You see Bressy here riding on in behind the 28 and the 5. Johnson going to pull on down low, try to cut the dog leg and try to get to the inside of Fambro. Here we go, battle for the lead.
And it's a three-way battle. Bresci sends it right up the inside of Fambro. Fambro trying to get the run off the top. He's not going to be an easy task, though. He's going to try everything he can to keep Johnston behind him. This is basically the championship for him, but he can't do anything way up the track. Nick Johnston back to the lead.
Yeah, went way too hard in the entry into one, went up the track, and it's going to open the door not just for the 28, but the 24 Bresci as well. And Bresci going to move his way back on into second place. Fambro going to drop back to third. Bresci another throw up the inside, almost gets into the quarter panel again.
Yeah, trying everything he can. I think he might have shifted a bit early there. He got loose again. He cannot get the run off the turn. He is really trying everything he can. This is his championship here.
Yeah, and I think he might have burned up his stuff here. This is going to be hard chasing down the 28. Now it's cleaner, but remember, he does have damage to the nose. Still not entirely sure how much that's affecting him. You got to manage that's hurting him a little bit.
We saw this last run. Bresci got the second, and then he ended up holding up the rest of the field with Fambro getting away, and Nick Johnson's going to be the one in line to get to a 4-second lead here.
Bresci's still putting on pressure to that 28 machine. Johnston is not driven away just yet. He's trying to, but Bresci really forcing the issue here.
This is all he's got, I think.
And for Fambro, what do you do if you're him sitting now back in third after leading
Whoa.
good part of the recent amount of laps we had?
I don't know. You just went first to third. I think he's definitely faster than a 24. He's got to get by Bresci as quickly as possible. You don't want to see that 28 getting away.
Yeah, and again, he needs to, if anything, at least by halfway get ahead of that 28. Otherwise, the gap in points is going to expand between them. And he's the furthest on back of our 5 competitors going into tonight, 12 points back. So he needs every amount of points he can get. So far, not looking good.
He seems like he's just kind of struggling now that he's back in dirty air. It seems like he really can't get the car to rotate now. He's falling back into the clutches of Hayden Pistorius.
And, well, Roberts, too, has found his way back up to the order. We saw him up here earlier, up inside the top 5, dropped out after a potential speeding penalty. Is now running in 5th, but he's got Brian Chambliss to do within that 25 machine.
Yeah, Chambliss usually has some decent runs here. Almost won last year here at Phoenix. Pistorius, I believe, was the winner, like we said earlier. It's a couple of veterans of this league now, as they are pretty much single file throughout the maybe top 10. I believe the top 10 are on the line right.
Yeah, pretty much so, all stacked very close together. And just kind of waiting for it to spread out between them, but it's not spreading out up at the front, at least for second place. Fambro back on the 24, trying to find a way on by.
Bresci just keeps sending it into these turns with no care for the tires.
And we've seen he's been probably, I would say, the worst out of everyone as far as the tire is concerned. He's usually the first to burn up compared to most of the other leaders. So I'm surprised that he's pushing this hard, because unless he's thinking that's going to be another short run.
Well, even then, yeah, he was slow on that last long run, but at the same time, he was able to keep it second. With some, yeah, he raced really hard to stay in his position. Got loose in the 3 again. Fambro really had to jam on the brakes there. Almost into the back bumper of him, but he's bad on the tires, but he's able to keep the track position, so he might as well be thinking if he can do that every time, he's got a good finish.
See if that does play out that way. Pistorius also in behind in the 9 machine. Is a playoff driver, but not necessarily left in contention for the championship, but having a really solid run, trying to be a repeat winner here at Phoenix, as he has a little bit of a look up the inside on the back straightaway.
Yeah, I think he's probably just following Fambro to hope for a mistake from the 24, a mistake that they can hopefully get by, because this 24 is pretty much loose out of every single turn already. And Nick Johnson, we're already seeing him start to open a little bit of a gap here, and it's only going to get bigger. Yeah,
it definitely is. Now it's kind of looking like what we saw earlier in the race, a half a second gap between first and second place at the moment. You know, you're saying?
That I was only going to say this. It really could really wrap up the championship if Nick Johnson can get these crucial halfway points. He's got to get, 10 points, and the guy he was tied with in the 46, Chad Simpson, he's barely even going to get 1 point, so that's already a 9-point swing. And as long as Johnson just gets a decent finish really ahead of every one of his competitors, he's going to have a really good gap going into Chicago.
That's just really what it is for him at this moment, just trying to get as much of a lead as possible. Especially considering he wasn't able to pad that out during the first 2 rounds. If anything, he's been playing catch-up and just recovering from spots in the race. Now he's got a shot to get himself back up in the lead and just kind of run away with it.
I hope the rest of his competitors can't see the damage on his front end, because if they saw that damage, they'd probably feel worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That maybe what could have been what Bresci maybe saw or something, and was just trying to take advantage of the 28, figuring that he's slower. But see the gap slowly starting to expand. Also, battle brewing in behind there. You see the 17, David Cowley. You've seen him drop to the back now, working his way back up after getting very physical with the 24.
And Famper almost got into the back of the 24 again. I think we're going to see Bresci have to give it up at some point, as Bresci and Famper are actually getting away from Pistorius a little bit here. As we see the top 10 are actually very separated from 11th on back. I think a lot of the people back there already have some crash damage, as top 10 are very locked up already here for the halfway point.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers stuck in behind you as we get closer and closer to halfway. That should be at the completion of lap 77, if I'm doing my math right.
Famper might get a good run at it too here to go for second on Bresci. He's not taking the dogleg harshly as Bresci is, though, so that's the only reason he's really not diving low in turn 3 to get the position.
There we go, 1 lap to halfway when they come across the stripe this time by, and the points are going to be given out, I think, pretty certain, unless Johnson comes spinning off a turn 4 like we saw earlier in the race. He should be able to get 10 points for leading at halfway, but for Bresci and Fabro still trying to sort themselves out.
I was looking at the 46 trying to go for 9th, but I believe Will Roberts might have just jacked up the 9 of Pistorius there. I think he might have gotten into him in turn 1. A bit of roughing up right now.
Everyone being rough, trying to get as many points as possible, especially the drivers too. In the Best for the Rest Championship, Will Roberts, see in the background, moving to the inside of Pistorius. Johnson will lead at halfway, followed by Bresci and Fambro. Then looks like did Roberts get it?
I don't believe so, but I believe the 5 finally put the bumper to the 24 there and got the P2.
Not entirely clear just yet. Gonna move to the inside, still side by side off into turn 3. And it looks...
Oh, man. 24 just sends it off in there. Famber got a really good center, and he's gonna get a really good exit too. He might be able to clear, just not quite. Bresci will not quit.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't quit. As one of the last drivers you'll see in the series that will quit. Will do everything he can to keep that spot. Fambro trying to gas it up and get clear of the 24. He finally will. Off of turn 2 and behind them, Roberts and Pistorius still side by side.
Not so fast, 24. A bit of a crossover there. We're already back to the inside trying to rotate the center. I don't know if he can do it. Fambro's going to get the run on the outside. Bresci really loose, just can't have any grip. Fambro finally gets the position.
And you see Will Roberts also in behind, will get clear of Aiden Pistorius, but I think Bresci's charge might be done for now. And I'm curious, can we see Fambro try to charge back up? That's Johnston.
Well, he has to try. There's no reason to not try. He's at a 2-second gap he's got to make up. We'll see. Fambro's got the clean car. Johnson's got some damage. We'll see what the pace is like.
Yeah, mostly single file for this kind of group of drivers. We'll take a look on back at that second pack we're looking at. You see Chad Simpson, though. Actually, before we go further back, Chad Simpson, this is, again, not really the night he needed. Has been having a mediocre night, hovering around 9th and 10th place.
Yeah, he's definitely probably going to be disappointed if things stay the way they are right now. This is really it for him if he can't make up some more positions. He might have to pull some strategy if it goes green from here. Maybe a bit of 2-tire risky stop here. It'll be interesting to see.
A little bit further on back, this is kind of where everyone past the top 10 is lined up. They're all lined up behind Michael Stroll in the 8. And there you got Christopher Matthews, Casey Lakatos. Matthews completely misses the corner, almost hits the turn 1 wall. Lakatos gonna get his way on by, as well as Jeremy Miller.
A little bit yellow line out of 4 there. He just cannot get by Bresci. Fambro's finally, he's the second one to get clear of Bresci now. I don't think we saw anyone second on back get clear of the rest of the pack after they got by Bresci. So it's really just a race past the 24 for everyone.
Absolutely, he's starting to build up. As you're seeing there, you can see he's just building up a pool of drivers in behind. No one really able to get past.
The widest 24 machine you'll ever see. They're really just trying to beat him up off the corner because Bresci really just sends it in too far to even dive on him. He's hanging the right rear out every single corner. Roberts all over the back bumper. Does hit him
Whoa!
there.
Brian Chambliss in the background sideways in between turns 1 and 2, almost wrecked it. He's got David Calvin, Riley Thompson trying to rebound from his troubles earlier in the race. Remember, started up in second place. Trying to make a rebound up to the front, but up ahead, as you're looking at Bressie still trying to hold off Will Roberts. It's looking like it might be a futile battle. Roberts getting really good runs off the corner.
That was a good save by Chambliss. I think David Cobb might have locked it up into one there. A good save by both of those drivers. Will Roberts trying to get the run off the turns, but he just can't get the grip. Bressie is holding strong, even though his tires might not be at the end of this run.
Yeah, that's really the limiting thing for him, I think, is the tires. I'm sure he would love to have much better tires that he can abuse on these cars, considering the way he drives.
He wishes his tires didn't age. I think he might be in a better spot.
Here comes Will Roberts. Good run off the corner to the inside. Gonna have a look down into turn 1.
He had a really good center there. But see, with the run Bressie gets, Roberts is loose. Bressie's gonna drive it hard. Will Roberts way down through the
Oh yeah, he disappeared off the camera, the screen there for a second. Ooh, they're both really hard into turn 3. They're gonna door each other or tap each other just a little bit. Roberts gonna force his way on through, making contact with the 24. Here comes Hayden Pistorius and Brian Chambliss as well off the corner.
I don't think Bressie liked that, considering what he said on the radio. 24 couldn't do anything there. Sometimes when a car's holding you up like that, you gotta muscle him out of the way. Here comes Pistorius. He's gonna be the next in line to probably take the dogleg shortcut.
Edie Will trying to get a run on that 24. You can see gaining half a car length by doing so off into the corner. Again, gonna be tight. As Bressie just trying to pinch everyone down so they can get a good run. But he's starting to struggle on his tires, and drivers also struggling on the inside as well.
From the first lap on these tires to that lap right there out of turn 4, he has not been tight out of turn 4 at all. He probably hasn't been tight on this whole entire run, but he's definitely tight on the 9's door, not letting him go easy.
Doing a great job getting the best runs off the corners off of turn 2. It's making competitive down into 3 and 4.
Pistorius drove him up the track there. He's going to get clear. Here comes Chambliss and David Cobb right on there outside. Cobb around the outside, trying to make a pass work up there. You don't see that often. He got it done.
And we saw how interesting it got with the 24 and the 17 last time. We'll see if it's interesting this time, by.
Oh, Bressie's just sawing off the wheel there. One thing we haven't been looking at, I think the gap between the top 2 is shrinking slightly.
Yeah, indeed it is. I've been kind of monitoring it. I don't really want to pull away from this, but we'll definitely talk about it here. You see James on the inside of David Calb. But yeah, our leaders have been closing in. Fernando's been closing in almost a 10th a lap every single time. And he's been consistently doing so. You see Calb pull up to the inside of that 24. Gonna give him some karma as he tries to door him off in between turns 1 and 2. The 24 is still there.
I think Thomas Bressie might be the most hated man out there right now. He's holding a lot of people up, and I think people are finally getting sick of it, shoving him up the track. You got to do what you got to do, and I think people are starting to finally put that to use. Kolb's finally through. Brian Chambliss is finally trying to get through. It's brought Riley Thompson and Chad Simpson back up here. Where did Riley Thompson come from with all that damage?
Yeah, I was going to say, that car looks like he's gotten it decently fixed for the most part. Is in a much better shape than he was early in the run. See, Cham is going to get on by as Bressie turned down hard on him on the exit of turn 4.
Yeah, it has not been a good couple of laps here ever since the 39 gave the 24 a boot. He's been falling back, and he's going to give Chambliss a bit of a boot there. No avail. He's all the way back to P7, and he's going to fall a little bit more here, I believe.
Yeah, Riley Thompson got a pretty solid run off at turn 4 now, looking to make a move on Bressie. You see Bressie, you can see him get loose in the corner in comparison to Thompson. He's able to keep that car more planted to the yellow line, but nowhere to go.
Might have to look out for a right rear blowout on the 24. Every single lap I watch him, he's hanging that right rear out like he did into the turns. He's hanging that out in the turns, center of the corner, out of the corner. He's not giving that tire a rest. I wouldn't be surprised if it blows out. He's into a wall almost there. Thompson's going to the inside.
I feel bad for his right rear tire because he is absolutely abusing it as he's trying to hang on to this thing. Thompson looking up the inside. Chad Simpson also looking to make a move as well.
Chad Simpson hopes he can get by cleanly. He needs all the positions he can get, but Riley Thompson having trouble there. Almost slides up into the left rear there. That could have been the caution.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure for Colin Fambro, You might think he would want to caution, but he's still closing in at a pretty fast rate. I'm still waiting for this battle to kind of sort itself out, because I feel like we're going to miss something if we pull away.
Yeah, I think we might miss a little bit of some scuff marks on the outside wall come out of nowhere.
We'll see
I
here.
think Fambro definitely doesn't want to caution. I think he's definitely better on the long run right now. It could be the damage, but regardless, he's definitely faster right now. I think he wants it to play out and go green.
Oh, and you see Riley Thomas trying to get a great one off the corner. Bressie in the wall yet again. Second time he's hit it off at turn 4. Here comes Thompson up the inside. Bressie going to pinch down into in between turns 1 and 2.
That hit might have been good enough to really do his car in. Now it might start plowing here. Oh,
he made contact, and Thompson spinning down the back straightaway. And it looks like he's going to prevent himself from hitting anything else, but a caution out again as Fambro was closing in, brought the gap down to 1 second before that yellow came out.
And that's not going to go over well. Thompson's not going to be happy about that at all.
We'll see what happened here. I guess just miscommunicate. Oh, Bressie really took an aggressive line through the bus stop. Or not bus stop, sorry, dog leg.
This isn't a roval. He took it like a roval there, a little bit of chicane there through the banking. It looked like what Bressie did. His right rear, like we said, it was dying. He just got way too loose over the transition there from the banking to the flat.
Yeah, yeah, I think you are right about that. I'm trying to, let's see here if we ride on board with the 24.
One thing for sure, Thompson didn't expect that at all.
Alright, so here's a ride on board with the 24. You can see him absolutely wheeling that thing off at turn 2. Yeah, you can see him turning it right. He doesn't want to go down there. Unfortunately, ended up hitting Thompson, and around he went.
Thompson's in-car is even funnier because the 24 just comes out of nowhere. He's not going to be happy about that at all. He fought all the way back up to the front just for that to happen. He's got to do it all over again with even more damage. This obviously eliminates the green flag pit stops, I believe. Absolutely.
Here to come down to pit road. Over halfway through this race, we got... I just realized I had the halfway thing up for way too long. Got to take that away. But Nick Johnston here. Gonna come on out as the leader. Colin Fambro in second. Hayden Pistorius in third. Bressie in fourth. Ibakel fifth. And for Thompson all the way back down the order. This is... there was a question spun sideways. Not sure what happened to him.
Who was spun sideways?
Travis McQuestion. No, this is interesting. This is coming out of his pit stall. Just spun it out.
Oh. Yeah, he did just spin it out. Interesting. I think that's too many stalls. Just maybe. It reminds me of when Mateus Leist almost spun it back around into his pit crew the one year they were here.
I was gonna say, that's the good thing, I guess, you know, to worry about actual people getting hit in a situation like that.
He made Steve Herring sit there waiting for him to get back going.
Yeah, I thought he got clipped. You know, typically when you see these guys enter the pit stalls, when you enter your pit stall, you have a chance of getting spun out. And that usually you don't see on an exit. But so McQuestion going to come back down, get some fresh tires after he burned his other ones out trying to spin back around. But lead's going to sort itself back out yet again. And this is interesting. We didn't really get a chance to talk about it too much because we're looking at pretty much everyone battling with Thomas Bressie. But Fambro was catching Johnston at a not insignificant rate.
Yeah, it took him a while to start really chopping into that lead. We'll see what happens here. We're going to have about a 50-lap run to the end here if it goes green. I think Nick Johnson still got the short run speed on him. I think Fambro's big chance at getting the win here was if that went green and got the green flag pit stops. I think it's going to be a bit difficult to hold on to Johnston here on this 20-30 lap run here.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to play out if if Johnson's just going to drag away and then close back up later, or if this damage is actually affecting him. I want to say that it definitely is at this point, because that was pretty impressive, because I was expecting, if anything, the gap to stabilize, but he's closing in. And I'm sure for Fambro, he's just absolutely, not devastated, but definitely annoyed that caution came out, because he was looking like he could have easily taken away the lead.
What's more annoying, probably, he's got Bressie all behind him. He's probably scared he might run over him with how aggressive Bressie's been. Regardless of how aggressive he's been fun to watch.
He definitely has been, and he typically usually is with the way he drives the car. And looking very much the same tonight.
There was never a moment where he wasn't loose.
Yeah, for Bressie, there typically is never a dull moment with him.
From the beginning of a run to end of a run, that was pure driving right there. That was all he had, and he was able to keep it second for the longest time.
Do a quick little run through the order just to kind of see where everyone's matched up at the moment. I mean, obviously Nick Johnston, Colin Fanville, Bressie for second and fourth. Will Roberts has been effectively moved his way all the way back up to where he was pretty much earlier in the race after a pit road penalty, moving him back to the pack on the first caution. Some other notable drivers through here. Riley Thompson only back in 15th, and for him I feel pretty bad because he effectively recovered. Now he's got some more damage to his machine and all the way back at the back of the field again.
And he's definitely not going to be happy with the 24, as most people I don't think are happy with the 24. Another person who's made a recovery, we'll see how it pans out. Jeremy Miller, he was not top 5, but he's back up to 9th for now. He's had a decent recovery. He's probably looking for the back bumper of a leader, but he probably won't get it. We're going green right here.
We'll see if he does actually get there. You never know. As the green flag back in the air for Nick Johnston, back on lap 100. He's going to file off into the corner. Colin Fambro in behind, trying to hold off everyone else. Bressie looking back to the outside of the 5 again.
Oh, he's loose again, and he saves it.
Whoa! Miller in the background, sideways off of turn 2, caution out immediately.
And commentator's curse. I had to open my mouth about him recovering, didn't I?
Yeah, let's see what happened there. Let's take a look at Bressie. Because again, never a dull moment with him. Wheeling it off for 2. Unfortunately for Miller, wasn't able to save it, just got loose.
Yeah, he just spun it there. I guess nothing you could really do. Like, he just really got loose. Probably wasn't expecting it on cold tires.
He definitely was right on board with Bressie here. See the hands on him. Oh. He's put his foot in the gas and just kind of rode it out.
Definitely not getting his foot out of the gas, definitely.
And so with that caution going to be immediately back out. We'll take the time to go to just a little bit of a break because something tells me that we're definitely going to need it. Because I think this race has a good chance of being very hectic in its closing stages. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Oh, hang on one moment. Overlay disappeared.
Oh no.
Alright, we're back. Sorry about that. There was a little bit of a misfunction with the ticker. It just completely disappeared off the screen. Was finally able to get it on back. Nothing too interesting happened on the restart. You can see Johnson up ahead of Fambro and Bresci.
Yeah, I don't think Bresci hung the right rear out as much. I think he knew what was going on, so he's saving the show for us. Good on him. Now he's back to what he was doing.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully things don't go wrong for him as go as wrong as the last run where he was just sliding the tail out and gets past, but trying to hold off at the moment, trying to hold off Ian Pistorius, sorry, behind.
We'll see how long that lasts. I don't know how long Hayden will want to wait right now. He's got to get, obviously, as many points as he can. He might be effectively out of it, but all these finishes matter. I'm interested to see if Fambro can hang with Johnson this time. He's clear for P2 over Bresci.
Yeah, and really, we're trying to see now if this is, truly the pace of the 28. Is he just going to drive away and continue to drive away, or was he pushing too hard on the last run, and that led to his tire wear, and really just due to the damage that he had on that machine? We'll see now that Fambro doesn't have to deal with Bresci getting past him like the last restart and is sitting in second.
I think it might have been a mixture of both for Johnson. He's pushing hard because of the damage, trying to keep his natural pace, and his natural pace is a bit different with the damage. He might be as fast with the damage, but at the same time, he's having to push harder to keep those same speeds because of the damage he has. So I think it's definitely affecting him. We got about 40 laps to go to see if it'll affect him enough that he cannot win this race over Fambro.
Coming down to the end of this race here, this is where it typically gets interesting. We're talking about Bresci on the restart. We were thinking that he might have got a little bit more aggressive on the restart, but cycled away back on a third. But now has got a mirror full of Hayden Pistorius, and now is trying to keep him in behind.
One thing I was looking at on that restart, Fambro timed Johnson's restart absolutely perfectly. It was alongside him to the line, really. Couldn't really make it work in turns 1 and 2. He could have maybe tried a bump to get to the lead, but couldn't do it. But if we get another restart, Fambro might be in a good spot here. He was able to time it perfectly once. He could probably do it again. Look at Will Roberts way on the apron there. They might be 4-1.
Whoa, yeah, this guy got to be really careful. We saw Colm almost got a piece of Hayden Pistorius into the corner, but looks like they were able to sort themselves out. That could have been dangerous.
Yeah, 4 wide wouldn't be a record there. I think they went 5 wide in an actual truck race once.
I wouldn't be too surprised. It's a lot easier, I think, in those things to go 4 wide than in something like the Xfinity or the Cup cars.
You got room for the whole field there, why not? It's so wide, how could it not work out? That's what everyone says before they wreck.
Yeah, they all come back into the track, and yeah, in between the kink and turn 3, and all hell breaks loose. But looking at Del Vacal running right behind Hayden Pistorius, trying to have a look to the outside lane. No real run for him there. But one run that's starting to develop. Fambro is starting to close back up on Johnson. Was a 10 quicker last time by.
Sorry about that. I was talking to someone there. I'm just looking at Fambro, closing the gap to Johnson, really trying to stay with him here.
Oh, good. Just wanted to make sure I didn't lose you too.
Sorry about that.
No, all good. But yeah, no, you can see the difference in the lap times is a little bit less different that time. But you can see both these guys close enough to fit in the same shy here as you look up above from the front straightaway.
David Cobb really forcing the issue in the dogleg there into the bumper. Pistorius really trying to rough him up for P4 now.
Yeah, this entire group of drivers has been absolutely all over each other. This battle pretty much from third all the way on back to 7th place with Chambliss in the background. You see Calb absolutely set it up the inside, gonna throw Pistorius up the track. I can't imagine the 9 is too happy now.
Cobb better run away. He's had a good run tonight. I think that puts him up to about P4. He better hope he can stay there and get away from that 9 machine.
Go back and take a look at what happened there.
He just went for it. He was done.
He made pretty decent contact with the 9 too.
Definitely better for the 17. It was only on his right rear, so I think it's definitely going to hurt Pistorius more. Pistorius making a bump from Chambliss now.
Back up on our leaders again. This is really starting to close in and out. You're closing quite a bit as Fambro. Now what do you do in his place?
I think you gotta go. I think he showed he might have been driving hard on the last run, and he was definitely faster on the long run than Johnson. I think you gotta get in front of him as early as you can. You never know when a caution might come.
Yeah, I actually just saw Johnson was loose off of turn 4, so he's definitely pushing a Fambro. Meanwhile, not pushing the issue as much. So you can. It was pretty much as you were saying that Johnson's having to push the car a lot harder to get over the damage that he has, but that's wearing out his tires pretty fast in comparison to Fambro.
Oh, the 17 almost got into Bresci there. They're really pushing hard for third, but one thing I'm really noticing with the top 2, Nick Johnson really takes the dogleg pretty harshly. All night, Colin Fambro has been taking it lightly, really not going down on the very flat, and I think it might be contributing to his good, not much wear on the tires, who knows. I think Johnson's taking note of that now. He's really not using it there either. I believe David Kolb's finally going to get the pass complete on Bresci there.
Yeah, he just got it done past that 24, moving him back in a 4th place. Will Roberts now looking to try to pick up a spot as well.
Get them all scrambled up, and we got a battle for a top 10 position going on here with McQuiston to Michael Stroll.
Yeah, McQuiston going up the inside of the 8, and for Stroll, it hasn't really been an eventful day. Whoa, as he goes up the track, gonna let McQuiston and Chad Simpson on by. Up, I can see Will Roberts having a look to the inside of Bresci, and this got pretty interesting earlier on.
Oh, Roberts really loose. He already passed him once with a bit of contact. I think if he does it again, he's getting sent, so he might have to be careful here with Bresci.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of drivers are doing, for the most part, being a little bit more careful on the drivers they hit earlier on, just to not poke the bear anymore.
I think if they all pitch in and hit him a couple times, I think Bresci might get the message. Maybe that's what they're thinking.
Ooh, gap for Fambro expanded quite a bit. Back now, almost back to a 2nd after being 2 to 3 tenths. And yeah, there's something happened this lap, this last lap. He off of turn 2.
I think he just missed turn 1, actually. Oh, and the yellow's out.
Oh, and yellow is out. Trying to see.
And I think he might have turned Pistorius.
See what happened here? This is going into turn 1. There you see Chambliss make a move to the inside. Oh yeah, and does that completely hip check the 9?
Yeah, I think he's going to the penalty box.
Right, well, right.
Oh my god. that was very odd how that contact spun him. Pistorius got roughed up the last 10 laps or so.
Yeah, sometimes you're the bat, sometimes you're the ball, and for Pistorius, he's been the ball quite a few times, and you're feeling the same as Riley Thompson, who's conveniently right in behind Chambliss.
Yeah, he's probably asking why Bresci didn't get that treatment from a couple others. He's unfortunately been the pinball the last couple of laps, so we'll see if he can recover, but that's put him way back in the pack after he's pretty much been top 5 all race. Pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, that allows Colin Fambro to make up for his mistake into 1, as we were talking about before that caution came out. Gap going to close back up again. Now, as we're getting kind of late into the race, dare try a 2-tire strategy. If you're a driver a little bit further back, or even if you're a leader.
If you're in the top 5 or so, no. I know Chad Simpson's been bad. It's even a risk if he tries something like that to get track position. He might need it, but it'd be pretty difficult to keep the track position like that. But we'll see what happens here.
Up, I see Hayden Pistorius is taking 2 tires, so is David Calb, so is Brian Chambliss, and here comes the race between Colin Fambrough and Nick Johnson. Johnson going to pull out ahead, but a few drivers did take 2 tires.
You know who took 2? Jeremy Miller. I think he might be lined up right behind Johnston.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. What do you think about that? He's just trying to get a top 5 finish, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I thought Hayden Pistorius took 2 tires, but it looks like I might have missed his box or something. But yeah, so
I'd be surprised if he took 2 after spinning.
So David Calb and Chambliss up here are gonna the first row is gonna be filled out with drivers just on 2 tires, and everyone else except for Jeremy Miller on 4.
I remember, again, going back to that cup race here, one of those people to take 2 tires was Chambliss, and it worked out well for him. So, I'm just saying, history could repeat itself yet again. And I think this is a decent strategy for Kolb. He's been up there all race. Maybe he can make it work. I think once he loses the lead, he might be in trouble. But if he can keep his track position, it might be a real nice upset win for him.
Absolutely, and again, this is the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series here from ISM. It's the penultimate round of the season for these drivers, where we complete the season next week at Chicagoland, which is definitely an interesting week, or definitely interesting track to end the season. I don't think I've ever really seen a schedule where Chicagoland's the final race.
I think VRO might be another league I'm in is doing it too.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I can kind of see Las Vegas, Homestead, Miami. Obviously with that being the former round, and even ISM 2, which is going to be the ending round of the season, or unless they change that. I don't think
it's gonna rotate. You never know, though.
I do actually, honestly. I kind of wish that they made the final race rotate in real life. I think it makes it a little bit more interesting.
You gotta go to big cities, you'd assume.
Yeah, I think they would have to definitely limit it to a select amount of tracks, but even then, I think that would, instead of knowing who's going to be, the way it's currently set up, who's going to more likely do well at a particular track, like ISM or at Homestead before. But when you can kind of like mix it up, it's like, oh, you don't know who's going to be good there going into the season, and then maybe like they decide, oh, it's going to be, X track.
They literally just, it would be funny if they don't reveal it until the very last week, like at the very last second. It's like, where are we going? We don't know. Oh, let's just go to Martinsville. We haven't been there in a while. Too bad. Just funny because I think it's the final race of the 3rd round, so they'd go from Martinsville to Martinsville.
That would be interesting, especially if you have a final race of the season at a short track. Can't imagine when was the last time they've done that. I think they've done it before, but that's like back in the 70s or 80s, if anything. Maybe even further than that.
We'll see here. We've seen when the night falls in Martinsville, things get crazy, and the night's falling here at Phoenix for a while now. We have a couple people on old tires, We have a couple people with a bit of history. This restart could change everything in a championship. You just never know.
Absolutely, we've seen the championship picture already change, and again, interesting a few times earlier. Throughout the playoffs. Might have a chance to get interesting even more in this race. Here we go. David Calb's going to lead the field of green. Pace truck off.
Got to get a good restart here and watch the wheel spin for these guys on too. Calb's going to get going here. A decent go here. But I think Johnson's already going to get to the lead. Get the second at least.
Yeah, you see the guys in the older tires struggling. There's Chambliss on the outside. There also Jeremy Moe in the 23. Not really much for him to go with. You see Colin Fambrough and Bresci side by side, dooring each other off at 2. Whoa, Riley Townsend going to lock the brakes in the background. Looks like he's going to save it. No spin from him. Colin Fambrough to the inside of Brian Chambliss. They're side by side for 3rd.
Meanwhile, in the very back, Filarski spun on the apron there, but he was able to keep it going straight. No yellow there. Fambrough trying to get clear to get back to Nick Johnson so he can get there before he gets by David Kolb. And we got more spinners in the way back of the pack. The yellow's out. And it's the 40 of Tyler Hensley and the 62 of John Wilk.
Yeah, I saw the guys going 3 wide, and behind them as well as up front, they were 3 wide as well. Not too terribly surprised that this resulted in a caution. We'll take another look at what happened. Enzo just got loose. He didn't even have help.
Odd, he just got in there way too hot there. Wilco had nowhere to go. That's unfortunate. He had a clean car until then.
Right back on board with the 44 Hensley. He's even loose off at turn 4. This is the entry down into turn 1.
Wasn't iRacing, I'd say a tire went down. I think he just got in there way too hot.
Yeah, absolutely. And round he went, decent amount of contact. It's not been a particularly good season for the 44, and it's going to continue the same at ISM.
I think this is the best case scenario for Fambro now.
Oh, yeah, he's starting up on the inside. Johnson, I would imagine, is going to be forced to the outside. I'll be surprised if Kelp decides otherwise.
Well, Fambro's been good at timing the restarts. He better make sure he can beat Johnson on this one. Everyone else on 2 tires, aside from the 17, pretty much lost all the ground they had. I don't think Chambliss has gained many spots from what he did. The only one who might have gained spots from that 2-tire call is Jeremy Miller. He's still, I believe, 6th. I don't think he got his shot at what he wanted. Maybe. Who knows? But you'll see if he can pull out a top 10 after being involved in, like, 2 wrecks, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was surprised if he could even try to get back to the 28. If he even is still mad about that, he might be over, it might not be. We'll have to see.
I'd be surprised if he was even thinking about it right now. I think that's just racing.
So for looking here, starting to get down to it, when we get the restart, it's going to be under 20 laps to go in this race. Yeah, as we were talking about on this restart, it is definitely going to be key. I think if Fambro can get a decent enough restart to get to the inside of Johnston by turn 1, I think he'll be good, because I think he's definitely got a better... Oh! No way. Oh, okay. I saw him pull off. I was like, there's no way he's spinning with 20 to go.
You really got to get... It's probably the first time someone's been faked out that badly. He almost hit the barrels.
Yeah. So that was an interesting... That would have been an interesting call there, but going to still stay on the track.
That would have been hilarious if he hit the barrels. Just would have counted as another pit mistake.
Just continuing on.
Not quite, though. Not quite.
His trials and tribulations with pit road, yeah, definitely been have been something to talk about. But for Johnston, yeah, just got to continue out there on the track. Shouldn't have to make a trip back down to pit road, hopefully, unless things go bad. But I think for what Fambro's got to worry about too is potentially getting stuck in behind the 17, who's got older tires, at least on the left sides.
Yeah, he hasn't been using the apron too much tonight. I think if the 28 does, sorry about that. If the 28 stays side by side with the 17 out of turn 2, he's gonna have to find a way to probably take it 3 wide on the bottom and hope the 17 just somehow gives him room and pushes the 28 up the track. There's a couple situations that could happen, but I don't know. I think he's gonna have to really make something happen here. The only person I think who wants cautions from here on out is probably the 17, because if he just keeps getting yellow after yellow and he can keep the lead, he might be in the best spot still.
Yeah, I think that's definitely. I can't remember who we saw to do that, but someone did that and did end up winning the race, just having caution after caution come out. It's happened in the past, and it can definitely happen again. And I'm sure Culp's hoping that he can get that to happen again, so he can get his first win in this series. A relatively new driver to the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series.
He's been top 5 all night, been roughed up a couple times, roughed up a couple people, but he's held his own pretty well here. Top 5 all night, and he's trying to pull off a pretty surprising W.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually find... There's a long list of drivers. Guess how many drivers have started a race in this series? This season?
Around 40.
64.
Oh, I'm one of them, apparently. Imagine that.
Alright, oh yeah, you did start off the season. Yeah, you had 3 starts. And you had 2 wins. I completely forgot about those.
Oh, yay. Yeah, one of them was we didn't even complete all the laps at Vegas.
Right, yeah, that was an awkward one.
I think I had the top 4, and then that was it. Everyone else was lapped.
Yep. Oh, coming back.
That one was fun, although Rockingham's always scary whether you're leading or not, so glad I survived that one. That one only had like 1 or 2 yellows, and that was really surprising as well. I was expecting a yellow every single lap.
Yeah, typically it's like that at the short tracks. A decent amount of yellows, nothing too terribly crazy. the buttons. This. Oh wait, it's right here. Can we hold? Oh, I just refreshed the software. That's I was like, we definitely did not have 2 cautions. I think we probably had about 5 or 6 maybe. It hasn't been too terrible, but we'll see if we'll get a few more. There's definitely a shot here as we get the restart. Get the restart coming to 18 laps to go.
Yeah, Cobb's going to have to get going here, and Fambro's going to have to be all over the 17's back bumper once he goes. 17 goes, and Johnston timed it perfectly. That is not what Fambro needed.
Yep, green flag back in the air here as these guys race side by side. You see Johnston trying to get to the inside of the 17 by turn 1, can't get it done. Fambro trying to hold off Bressie as Bressie's going to have a look to the inside.
This is the worst case scenario for the 5. He might lose everything here if he can't keep Bressie behind him. Nick Johnston's got a clear shot at David Kolb.
Yeah, side by side between the 5 and the 24 down into turn 3 and 4. Fambro just trying to defend that 3rd place position.
He was able to do it there. He's finally going to get clear, so he didn't lose too much ground to Nick Johnston. It doesn't seem like Johnston's getting the best runs on the 17 here. We'll see how long it takes him to get by Kolb, as Kolb's holding his own so far.
He's actually doing a much better job. I would have thought he would have lost it by now. Johnston not even to his insides. The 17 definitely trying to hold him up, trying to hold on to this lead. He's got his work cut out for him with 17 coming to 16 to go.
Fambro's really driving it in hard into the corners, trying to make up for lost ground. Johnston using up every single inch of a track there to gain some ground on the 17, but not cutting it so far. I think he's got to focus on the exit to get alongside the 17. He's going to have a good run at him here.
Yeah, this is now what the 28 Johnston needs is now he's going to have a look up the inside going to turn 3. That's allowed Fambro, though, to catch up quite a bit after being side by side with Bressie. Here we go, side by side for the lead.
We'll see how hard the 17 pinches. He's going to pinch as hard as he can without making contact. He's going to be able to make it work and clear. And here comes Fambro for 2nd.
Oh, man, this is the worst case scenario for Johnston here. The leader's not letting him by, almost wrecked him. And now here comes Fambro now with a head full of steam.
The more the 17 holds everyone up, you know who else is going to be in the conversation? Thomas Bressie. I don't think they want him involved in this. Fambro's going to look low into turn 3.
Gonna have a look, gonna try to go below the apron, but Johnston slams the door shut. Bressie also gonna check up in behind the 5. He's, as you were saying, not out of this picture just yet.
I gotta say, I'm shocked Cobb's been able to hold him off for this long, and he looks like he's holding his own, and it might last to the end of this race. I think Johnston might have to pull out the bumper. A great run through the center, but he does not get the exit. David Kolb actually stretching that gap.
Oh, and Fambro got a pretty solid run here, gonna get a run. Where does he go with it? Gonna try to have a look down low into turn 3, not enough. Johnston slams the door shut yet again, gonna keep him in behind.
I think he's got to focus on the exit compared to the 28 right now. David, I cannot believe the 17 is driving away right now. Oh, Fambro dove it, couldn't do it.
Yeah, gonna do it indeed. He's gonna hold him. That was a pretty poor entry for the 5, gonna cost him some time on exit. Johnston's still trying to have a look at this 17. This is looking to be more and more done the more we go on.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever gonna be over. We can we gotta always expect the unexpected, especially what we've seen here. I can't. Fambro's really just gotta focus on exits compared to a 28. I think he can probably get by, but he's really losing himself too much time here. As we're gonna come, I believe, 11 to go, about 12 to go. This is coming down to a wire.
Yeah, absolutely. As Johnston looks like he's collected himself, got a pretty solid run off for 2. If there's a way to go, though, it hasn't been clear as Kolb's still holding a decent lead. That damage, I think, definitely hurting the 28 as well, as he's trying to force himself back to the inside of that 17, but Kolb giving him no room at all.
That 17 might have to protect the bottom here, but 28's got to run. He's going to dive to the inside here. Fambro's going to probably get caught up here. Can the 17 pinch? He's not doing it here. This might be it.
It might be it, but he's going to get a decent run off the corner. Might not be enough, as Johnston going to try to cut the dog leg as much as he can going into turn 3.
Who dives it in harder? They both dove it in hard, especially Fambro. The 28 tries to wash him up the track. The 17 not giving an inch. Look at him all over the door. And he's going to be able to clear him again. Fambro's loose. He saves it. He loses a bunch more time, and the 17 still holds on to the lead.
Yeah, great stuff. And Fambro, I think, was just trying to be too aggressive to turn it down, make it 3 wide on the front stretch. Here we go side by side yet again with the 28 and the 17 in behind them as well. Bressie over the back of the 5 of Fambro. Fambro got to take a shallow entry as the leaders side by side again.
I think the 17 can keep doing that. I don't see a way Nick Johnston can get by him. I think Fambro's just got to start being patient here, and he could probably get a chance for the lead himself, but he keeps losing him time, and Nick Johnson still can't complete the pass.
Laps really starting to wind down here. 9 laps to go for these drivers, and Calb looking stronger and stronger as the run goes on.
Yeah, the more laps they have, the more it's gonna even out. So if 28 can't pass him now, he's not gonna have a chance at him. He's gonna have only about 8 laps to go here, I believe. And Fambro's closing in yet again.
Yeah, and I think really the key thing is that Calb has not been overdriving the car, even with his older tires. He's been setting his own pace, hitting his marks, not wearing out the tires. Meanwhile, Johnson and Fambro have been absolutely sideways off of some of these corners, trying to catch up and even making contact at times.
Yeah, this is definitely the hardest I've seen Fambro drive all race. We haven't seen him overdrive it except for that one turn before the yellow earlier. He's just got to be patient. I think he's in prime position to win this thing, but he's obviously got to pass 2 cars first.
He does 7 laps to go as they come across the stripe. It's a top 3 battle for the win amongst themselves, and here comes Johnson trying to get a decent run off of turn 2. Gonna try to cut the dog leg. Get a little bit of a run, but no bite, and even Fambro now starting to get closer and closer into this picture again.
Getting to a point where the 28 might have to put the bumper to the 17 before the 5 does it to him. All 3 of these guys right on top of each other as they're separated from the battle for 4th with Cressy and Chambliss now.
Those drivers starting it out behind will keep an eye still as Johnson is all over the 17. Just no bite for him off these corners. And he saw it too as he tried to have a little bit look on the outside in turn 3. That Fambro threw it up the inside trying to have a look as well.
He couldn't do anything. Fambro just keeps overdriving the entry just like he did right there, not capitalizing on the exit. And I think Johnson hit the apron. They were going to get loose out of 4.
Ooh.
Not a good run there. It's going to be 5 to go.
5 laps to go. Who's going to use the bumper? You got to imagine someone's going to. And if I'm Fambro, I'm definitely going to use the bumper.
Well, it's not going to be called, but he's got no opportunity to. I think even if he gets the bumper used on him, I don't think he's going to have an opportunity to use it back.
Really running out of time here. It's going to be 2 minutes left in this race and 4 laps to go when they come across the line next time by. You can see how close these drivers are to one another. All sideways off turn 4 still.
I think we almost had a wreck in the back. Riley Thompson almost turning someone there. I think they were able to keep it straight. A couple cars on the bottom there. We're still green. The top 3 on top of each other. Nick Johnson all over the left rear quarter pan.
Yeah, you see Calb taking a very aggressive line in comparison to his normal line down through the dog lead. It's going to compromise his entry, and you see Johnson get compromised and Fambro a little over the back, but again, nowhere for him to go.
They both missed the turn completely, and look at the gap that gave the 17. That could possibly be all he need, as he's only got 3 more laps to get it done.
Yeah, he's got to hope now that a caution doesn't come out. This is the best chance he's got here with this gap. 3 laps to go, less than that, nor like 2.5 as they come across the back straightaway.
I just don't think Fambro can keep the car under him to get a run for the lead. I think it's all down to the 28 and how he uses his front bumper here.
Absolutely, or really a matter of what's left of that front bumper. You can see it's been used up earlier as he had some major contact with the 23 car. That put a massive dent into it, and that's really pretty much hurt him the rest of the race.
Oh, the 17 missed the bottom there. He's not going to get the best run through the center of a corner. Johnston got close to him but couldn't get a good run off. Cobb lost a lot of his lead there, though. Coming to a white flag this time. Johnston's going to take the high lane to get the run off.
He's got 1 more lap here when they come across the stripe. Here we go. White flag in the air. This race is going to finish under green. It's just a matter of who's going to get there first. See the 28 of Johnson sideways off the corner.
I think if he doesn't use his bumper, it's over. I don't think he can get by Cobb. He's not going to get a good run here either. The 17 gets a decent run.
One final attempt for Nick Johnson to have a look down into turn 3. David Cobb going to drive off. He's going to absolutely send it here. Does he make contact? No, he does not. And out of turn 4 is going to be David Cobb with the 2-tire call is going to win here at ISM. Nick Johnson going to have to settle for 2nd place. Colin Fambro in 3rd. Thomas Bresky in 4th. And Brian Chambliss rounding out your top 5.
Then the Travis was Quiston, Chad Simpson, Hayden Pistorius, Jeremy Miller, and Calvin Falarsi rounding out the top 10. One of the best finishes of the season and one of the best stories of the season. A 2-tire call out of nowhere. I cannot believe he held them off. What a win for Cobb. That was amazing to watch.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff here. As you can see, some fireworks going off in the bottom corner of the screen. Unfortunately, the blimp on the wrong side of the track, but As you saw, we definitely saw a lot of fireworks on the track, and for David Cobb, gonna look to burn the tires down here.
As the 23 and 28 try to hit each other on the pit road as they go through each other, we're going to see the 17 doing burnouts, well-deserved burnouts, one of the best wins of the season.
And completely unexpected, too. We didn't talk about him for a majority of the night. He was running pretty well. We saw him during other drivers. The 24 of Bresci, they got into some contact, drifted on back, and with a two-tire call, putting him up in the front. It was just some incredible driving as well. You can see him also, definitely he's had some good practice doing some burnouts, some really solid ones here as he burning it down into turn 4.
Yeah, you can say there's 3 turns. I guess it counts.
Pull it off the track here.
He conquered all 3 of them tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't go anywhere here. We'll take a little bit of a break, gather some drivers shooting you. We'll be right back. And we're back live here with third place finisher Colin Fambro. And just in general, I mean, you can see there on the screen, you guys had, Nick, and David had a fantastic battle through those final few laps. Fortunately, we weren't able to be on top of that back in third, but, just kind of walk us through how your night went, especially chasing the lead earlier on.
Yeah, it started out really well. I was able to build out a pretty good lead there. I was really, really good on the long run, and I think if we'd have kept having those long runs, I think I would have been good to go. But those short runs, I think some guys turn their brake bias up and they just dive it off in there and able to really abuse the tires for a few laps and kind of keep up. So, but man, the battle was fun. David, I thought we were going to be able to get around him, and he really defended well, never made a mistake. And I was trying to make sure I gave Nick room. He's my teammate, and he's battling for the championship just like I am. And I didn't want to, do anything silly that would take him out. So I was trying to be mindful of him and also race hard at the same time. And just, started overdriving it and burned up my right front a little bit too much. But overall, I mean, it was another great race.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of that championship battle, I know you're 12 points coming in, and you're hoping to kind of close that up a little bit more. If anything, I think it might be expanding a little bit after tonight. Are you still hopeful for getting the championship, or do you feel like it's kind of over at this point?
I mean, I don't feel like it's over at 12 or 13 points or whatever it is. I mean, there's still a whole race to go. Anything can happen, as we've seen so far in these playoffs. And I'll just show up next week and give it the my best effort, and we'll see what happens.
All right, that was Colin Faber, your third place finisher. Colin, thanks for talking to us, and we'll see you next week at Chicagoland.
Thanks, guys.
Moving on next for you, Nick Johnson. And Nick, it's been I think it's been a little bit of a while since we talked to you after struggling with the car. Actually, no, I think we did get a chance to talk to you last week at Auto Club. But here at Phoenix, we were talking about not making. Earlier, we were talking about you not making pit road mistakes. Unfortunately, you made one coming off of turn 4. Just kind of walk us through what happened with that one.
We had a part failure. The gear shifter in the car actually broke off, and the car went into second gear. So under that first stop, we had the guys climb in and bolt up a new shifter, get the car back going so I can actually shift gears, because with the setup here about 10 to 15 laps in, we were going down to third, at least in 1, and then 3 probably a couple laps later. So shifting was really important late into the run, and we definitely needed that.
Yeah, and especially, looking at the end of this race, we saw, you're starting in behind both Brian Chambliss and Culp that took 2 tires, and you had 4 fresh ones. Were you kind of surprised that you weren't able to get around the 17?
I wasn't too surprised, really. I had problems with my car since about midway through the race when I was coming back through. I got to the inside of the 23 car in 3 and 4. He kind of drifted up half a lane. I kind of got in half a lane. It was kind of like, was I there? What was it not there? But we made a little bit of contact, and he got sideways. So I lifted off the gas, got on the brake, wheeled weight up. I was letting him catch it, and he decided to radiator job me, and that gave us damage to the front end of the car and kind of hurt us the rest of the night. Honestly, to come out of here second, beating all my championship rivals, I'm happy with it. David drove a great race, especially on 2 tires there, so can't be mad with him driving well, and especially being able to hold off on the outside there in the later parts of the race in 3 and 4. I kind of thought I'd be able to muscle him out of the way a little bit, and just wasn't going to happen. And I even went for the rear bumper there in 3 and 4 on the last lap, but he just drove it in just deep enough where I couldn't quite get there.
As your second place finisher and points leader, Nick Johnson. And Nick, best of luck to you. Hoping that things go your way at Chicagoland.
We're looking forward to it. Thanks, guys, for everything you do. Thanks, P2 Motorsports, for all their help. And congrats, David, again on your win.
All right, and speaking of which, we're going to pull David Kolb into the booth. David, congratulations on getting a win. It's only your 3rd start, if I'm not mistaken, in this series, and already pulling out a W after fantastic tire call. Just got to walk us through what compelled you to pull that off.
Yeah, no, I looked at my left side tires after the previous pit stop, and I was just thinking, the left sides aren't really getting used up here. So, I figured I'd go for it and just see what happens, because, I'm not here to finish 3rd.
Were you surprised at all that you're able to hold off the 28 as well as you did, or was that pretty much all part of the plan? Because you did some excellent driving.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I was pretty surprised. Nick and I are good buddies, and, I appreciate him driving me clean there and having some good hard racing towards the end. And, I think he was looking at the bigger picture, being in the points and everything, and, me just being a kind of a part-timer in the series.
Yeah, speaking of you being a part-timer, could we potentially be looking forward to you going potentially full-time for next season?
Yeah, no, for sure. I saw Nick running this league, the whole season, and I was just like, I'm finally going to go for this and get in. But yeah, I'll definitely be there next season.
All right, and can we also see you next week?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so David Kolb, win at ISM and potentially win next week. You've been pretty strong in the few races you've been in here. Best of luck to seeing how it plays off for you at Chicagoland.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, and with that, that's going to wrap up interviews for tonight. We'll take one last look down your running order here at ISM. And, unfortunately, to the ire of other Chase competitors, Nick Johnson, even with his spin coming off of turn 4, was able to rebound very nicely for a 2nd place finish.
Yeah, he was able to survive a missed shift, and he was also able to survive a bit of a brake check at the end there, at the beginning there. He dodged a lot of bullets like he has pretty much all Chase long, and he's probably really put this thing close to bed, but it's not quite sleeping yet. He's still got a lot of bullets to dodge. He's got to have a good run next week, obviously, and he's got some certain people probably a bit upset at him for some reasons. He's still got a long ways to go to wrap this championship up, and no place better to do it than Chicagoland. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, it really is. Really looking forward to seeing how the championship is going to wrap up. As you're saying, it ain't over until it's over, and I'm sure I can imagine that Johnson's hoping that it's over before it's over. Everyone else trying to chase him back down, Bressie and Colin Farmer included, hoping that things go awry. But we'll have to tune in next week to see how that plays out. Tomorrow night, though, coming up will be the Spec MX-5 Challenge at, if I'm not mistaken, I believe they're at Road Atlanta tomorrow. So be tuned in to that on, or sorry, not on SimTV, on the Winding Road magazine channel. But I'm Finny Nakuna with Connor Horn here tonight. We're SimTV, and we'll be wrapping this up. Thank you for watching.